Welcome to Module 6 of Overcoming Anxiety. This is our final module and it's about planning for the future. As we approach the end of the course, it's important to piece all of the information and tools together to ensure that you're able to overcome anxiety and live the best version of your life. An anxiety disorder doesn't have to be a disability, it can be an ability. Throughout the modules, we've covered various methods that help people overcome anxiety. And once you've completed this course, the future is in your hands. This module covers the concepts needed so that you're able to put together the correct tools that work for you and continue the progress of overcoming anxiety. Goal setting. With a list of triggers, it's easy now to set goals of overcoming them. However, every day will bring new challenges which will require regular goals that are flexible so that you can continue progressing. The steps to setting yourself goals are relatively simple, but it's useful to remind yourself of them to make sure that the goal is achievable. When you think of smaller goals, make sure that they're achievable for you right now. By practicing things that are difficult but doable, your confidence will increase, as will your motivation. It's easy for us to become too ambitious or want to set a goal of not being anxious at all, but it's up to us to find ways to make that happen. Also, don't be disheartened if you don't achieve a smaller goal first try. The point is that it's possible to achieve, not mandatory. If you find that a goal you have set is seemingly unachievable, look into why you think that is. Maybe there are too many factors in that goal that cause anxiety. For example, if you're anxious about shopping by yourself, then a goal could be to go down to the local supermarket by yourself and spend 5 minutes there. Maybe one of the reasons you haven't achieved it yet is because driving is a trigger for anxiety and you'd have to drive in order to get to the shops. Maybe you have to walk to the shops and walking by yourself causes anxiety. Once you break those things down, you can look at changing the goal slightly for the present time. You could get someone to drive you to the shops and then go in there by yourself, or you could get somebody to walk with you. If neither of those things are possible, then look at adding a goal of walking by yourself for a certain amount of time, or just driving to the supermarket without the added pressure of having to go in. You know yourself best, and you know what you can and can't do at the moment. Don't be too hard on yourself if things don't go great. At the same time, though, don't make up excuses for not achieving goals. You will have to push yourself at some points. It's just important not to push yourself too far. Risk and reward. Anxiety carries a heavy emotional toll, and battling it takes a lot of energy. At times, just getting through the day feels like an accomplishment. By getting through the difficult stuff, we prove that anxiety doesn't dictate our lives. Is that enough, though? The answer is no, not really. It's important to reward our efforts in various ways. There are times when the reward isn't worth the difficulty, though. It's not recommended to set yourself difficult goals just to see how far you can push yourself before you break. The overall goal is to lead the life you want without being hindered by anxiety. If there is something that causes major anxiety but actually doesn't impact the end goal, then it isn't worth pushing yourself. That's an instance where the risk outweighs the reward. There may be instances where there's something you'd like to do, but the anxiety levels make it impossible at this current point in time. In these situations, creating those smaller stepping stones will help you get ready to take on that challenge. If you try it now, it could set you back and it could take 10 times longer and be 10 times more difficult when trying the same situation next time. For example, you may want to travel the world, but anxiety makes flying practically impossible. If flying is where you experience most of your anxiety, getting on a plane to travel abroad would trigger that anxiety, which would make the experience horrific and it would seem even worse the next time. However, if you practiced in other areas of your life so that your anxiety levels are constantly low, then you can find ways to practice flying, such as in a simulator or flying lesson where you can land wherever you want. Making life manageable. Life seems incredibly difficult when you suffer with severe anxiety. Communicating with people is a challenge, as well as doing simple day-to-day tasks or even getting a job. Because of that, it's important to find ways to make your life manageable. Find ways that you can make your life easier if necessary, such as doing online shopping rather than having to go into a supermarket. Try to find work that you know you can do, whether it's in an office or outdoors. Struggling with anxiety at work can make life so much harder. If there is a way to avoid that for the time being, then implement it. As mentioned before, make sure to include positive rewards in your life. There should be something to look forward to in every single day. It doesn't have to be something big, it's just important to make time for yourself. For example, you could take up a hobby or just watch a film that you love. Having something you enjoy every day brings happiness into your life. Don't overload. Similar to the previous topic in making life manageable, it's important not to overload yourself. You may find that as you progress through your journey in overcoming anxiety, that you begin to put more pressure on yourself. For example, in the beginning, you may have found it really difficult to drive to the shops, but now you can do it every day, so you stop rewarding yourself. It's important to acknowledge all of your successes and not keep adding to the list of challenges in a single day, otherwise you risk burning out. If there are certain responsibilities that you have to do in a week, try to spread them out so that they don't all happen at the same time. Planning your time can help in making these tasks more manageable and less stressful, which should hopefully mean that it will not trigger much anxiety. Whilst planning tasks into your week, you can also plan the fun things that you'd like to do. Getting support. The journey to overcoming anxiety is a long one, and it involves a lot of hard work. Although most of it can be done alone, it's always a good idea to get support along the way. As the saying goes, a problem shared is a problem halved. Getting support can mean a variety of things. The first step would be to talk to family and friends. They're the closest to you and they're able to help you on a day-to-day basis. Another option for getting support is some kind of talking therapy, like seeing a counsellor or a psychologist. Seeing a professional offers you an unbiased look at your situation and may provide more options for self-improvement. Family or friends may try to support you, but if they haven't experienced anxiety themselves, the advice they offer may not be that helpful. Professionals who are experienced with anxiety should be able to understand you better and help you overcome any obstacles you face on your journey. The third option is to seek help online. There are forums that people can receive support from members going through a similar situation. People share tips and experiences which make it easier for you rather than feeling isolated. You may be able to learn from their experiences, share your own, or even help others who are facing something you've already overcome. There are also professionals online, such as counselling apps, where you can get support. Take each moment as it comes. One of the biggest issues with anxiety is that life becomes unpredictable. Planning is relatively easy, but when things don't go the way you think they will, it's common for anxiety to strike. Because of that, it's important to take each moment as it comes. If you plan to complete a task at work or at home and you haven't managed to for whatever reason, that's okay. Speak to the people you need to, such as employers or teachers, and think about possible solutions. It may be that there are no negative consequences for not completing it in that time that you thought you had to, so you can try again the next day. This is where planning comes into play. When you are planning tasks that you need to do, give yourself plenty of time. Don't leave things until the last minute. That way, if things go wrong, there is no problem, but if things go well, then you're ahead of schedule. Anticipate setbacks. There will be moments on your journey where you feel more anxious than previous days, and it's important in those moments to remember that it doesn't mean you're actually going backwards. We all have good days and bad days, so be prepared that some days you may have to set the goal standard a little lower. Don't be disheartened, as each day is a new day. Keep a journal. Throughout this course, we've discussed many different methods and exercises that should be tested on your anxiety journey. A way to prepare for the future is to keep a journal. This can include your future plans and goals, as well as the various things that have happened in your day, what exercises you've tried, how you felt. This will help to create a record of your anxiety journey and how you may be progressing. It will help you deduce what is useful for you and what isn't. It may also help in understanding your anxiety in further detail. It can be used as a motivational tool when you see all of the progress that you've made and all of the achievements. Thank you for listening, and hopefully you found this course useful. If you have any comments or questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment below.